Hi everyone. Usually I would write up an entire post on my Substack, but I decided today to try doing a video blog instead as an experiment, just because I have so much to say and it's just too long to write. Um, First, I want to say that I hope everybody in Los Angeles is safe and doing the best they can under the circumstances there that unfortunately they're going through right now. And I never thought I'd see today uh, looking at pictures of Los Angeles as an apocalyptic war zone, because that's actually what it looks like. Um, it's sad, and I have family and friends that live there, so I hope they're all safe. I hope they're doing everything they can, and if they evacuated, I hope they got out safely and in a timely manner, and wherever they are, I wish them well, and I'm glad, and I hope they're okay. Having said that, Donald Trump is a moron. He has no heart. Rather than do what a president is supposed to do, which is be presidential and have thoughts and prayers going out to the victims, to the 5 people who died and their families, and everybody else that's going through a natural disaster that's beyond their control. Rather than doing that, he's attacking Governor Newsom, saying it's his fault, and politicizing it and turning it into a weapon. This is in saying that FEMA ran out of money, there's no water, and it's Governor Newsom's fault and the Democrats for withholding aid, signing a bill, something about smelt. I don't even know what smelt is, so I don't know. And it's just disgusting. And he's repeating this lie daily, and it is dangerous. And people are dying. People are losing homes, expensive homes. People weren't prepared for this. They don't know where to turn to. They don't know where to go. They've lost everything in their homes. Some people aren't able to evacuate and they're stuck in a forest somewhere. And instead of coming to people's aids and helping them with resources that they need, Donald Trump is busy spreading a lie, saying we can't, that we're not going to help you. This is the governor's fault. Governor Newsom, he's being blamed for it. And then you have Donald Jr., another moron who's blaming it on wokeism and saying die because Governor Newsom is letting people die. And then he's spreading it around, and the MAGA idiots are believing this and spreading it around. I actually made a whole post about it on my social media saying that this is a complete and utter lie. There's absolutely no way Donald Trump would know that there is no water in California, and that the FEMA ran out of money. It's a blatant lie. And people on my social media attacked me saying that this is because it's a Democrat. I'm like, I said, how do you know Donald Trump is lying? And they said to me, how do you know he's not? You know, it's like they're believing this, and this is dangerous. And saying this is what happens when you have Joe Biden as the president. He let this happen, and I'm trying to ask myself, explain to me how Joe Biden allowed this to happen. Explain to me how exactly he started a fire in California. Explain to me how, when officials don't even know how it started completely, how is it Donald Trump is saying it's because there's no water or because FEMA ran out of money? How is it Joe Biden's fault? And the answer that I got was, well, it's Joe Biden's fault because he's the president, and rather than give money to FEMA, he gave him the aid to Ukraine, which makes absolutely no sense because they are not the same. Because, for people who actually don't know, When Congress is allocating the budget and the money, they already know where it's going. FEMA gets money no matter what because they are for disasters, such as what's going on in California right now. Ukraine is a totally different story. Ukraine, there is a bill, and they vote on that to give money to Ukraine. But one has nothing to do with the other. One is an ally, and we help our allies in a war that Russia started. No matter what you're hearing from MAGA or the GOP, Russia invaded Ukraine, not Ukraine invading Russia. President Biden had nothing to do with starting a war with Russia. Because A, as I keep mentioning to people, a president cannot declare war, number one. Number two, why in the world would Ukraine attack Russia? Why would they have any reason to do that? Number three, it was President Biden, along with our other allies, France, Germany, England, who basically told Putin, do not invade Ukraine. And he did it anyway. So the fact that people are saying we have no money for FEMA because it all went to give weapons to Ukraine is just a blatant lie. And anybody that actually believes this is just the problem. If you want to blame it, and at this point in time, there's no reason to make the blame game. At this point in time, Los Angeles is in a lot of trouble. Houses are burning, mansions are burning, people are losing their lives. They're in shock. They have nowhere to go. They're losing everything they've built up. Pets, children. And it doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor and you're saying, well, they have money from all the Hollywood woke movies, and so to them it doesn't matter. And I'd say to you, you're a fucking retard because, you're a fucking moron. Because no money in the world is going to bring back your life. No money in the world is going to bring that house that you lost back. No money in the world is going to bring back whatever possessions you lost. This isn't about Hollywood wokeism. This isn't about Democrats, Republicans. This is about a natural disaster in a city burning. This is about a city that has millions of people whose lives are changed. This is a city that's in trouble and needs our help. It doesn't matter who's to blame, whether or not the governor is to blame, whether or not you. By the way, natural disasters, for those who need to be educated here, natural disasters are just that. It's natural disasters, be it climate change, be it weather patterns, be it what. To be fair, California had a drought. It's dry. And I'm not a climatologist, I'm not a scientist, and neither is Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is saying things that I wouldn't know, that you wouldn't know, unless you are a climatologist, a scientist, a meteorologist. I wouldn't comment on something I don't know. But Donald Trump saying they have no water, Governor Newsom left it, would rather give it for a smelt fish. I don't even know what that is. I have no idea what that is. And again, I don't live in California, but I do know that a governor of any state will do what's in the state's best interest. Again, I don't live in California. I don't know the politics in California. I don't know their finances in California. I know nothing about California except the fact that it's a nice place to visit. So whatever Governor Newsom signed, I'm sure there were reasons for it. Whether or not I agree with it is irrelevant. The point is, Donald Trump is lying, and it's a dangerous what he's saying, because people swear by what Donald Trump says. If Donald Trump says the sky is falling, I can guarantee you people will say, oh my God, how fast is it falling? That's what MAGA is. MAGA is a dangerous cult. Donald Trump is delusional, and his rhetoric that he's doing right now isn't helping anybody. This is the same delusional moron who said we need Greenland and Canada needs to be the 51st state, and we need to change the name of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, or whatever he wants to call it. This is the same person that's alienating our allies against us and trying to pit each other against the other. This is the same person. And the fact that people are believing this without having common sense, and let me tell you, Donald Trump did the same thing in North Carolina when they had the damage over there, when saying FEMA wasn't on the site because they didn't care, when in fact FEMA was there. In fact, FEMA gave a press interview at the same, in North Carolina, the site of the damage, when Donald Trump wrote, FEMA doesn't care about North Carolina because they are not coming to North Carolina. But I am going to be there because I care about the people. This was written at the same time that a representative of FEMA was actually speaking in North Carolina, assessing the damage. In fact, President Biden wanted to go down there, and they said to Joe Biden, it is not appropriate for you to come now. We will let you know when it is appropriate. Joe Biden understood that and said, okay. But not Donald Trump. He came. Nobody asked him to come. And he came. But he came because he had an ulterior motive, which is, see, North Carolina, I care about you, so you should vote for me. Joe Biden doesn't care about you. He's not here. We're doing the same thing here. Los Angeles, if you're watching this, I feel for you. I feel bad for you. I wish I can come and be there with you. Unfortunately, it's not real. Unfortunately, the airport is actually closed because it's not even safe to fly there. So, that's that. This is, and by the way, if Donald Trump actually knew what the hell he was talking about, he would know that a natural disaster has nothing to do with the governor, has nothing to do with the president, has nothing to do with him. It's a natural disaster. It's just like a hurricane, a tornado. It's a natural disaster. A tsunami is a natural disaster. What we're seeing now in California is a natural disaster, which, by the way, is not the same as the wildfire. Wildfires are able to be contained. This, unfortunately, cannot be contained. But right now, it's too dangerous to get near the fires to try to even put it out. So I'm going to plead to you right now, people, do not believe what Trumpy is saying. Because what he is saying is a flat-out lie. It is dangerous. And if you believe him, then you are the problem. Because this is a man who is psychotic, who is delusional, has a couple of screws loose, and doesn't know the first thing about running a country. What he's doing right now is not presidential. What he's doing right now is stoking the fears and stoking hate. He is stoking fear and hate and using fear-mongering and lies to get people to do his bidding. He is living in an alternate reality, and he's not normal. But hey, you MAGA people voted for him. This is what you wanted. And with every action, there is a consequence. And this is the consequence. I can bet you right now that Donald Trump, as President of the United States, or Pino, President in name only, because I do not consider him the President, I can guarantee you he will not give any funding to the state of California because he does not like Democrats. Not only does he not like Democrats, he hates Gavin Newsom. So any bill that Congress puts in for aid to California, I can bet you 100% that Donald Trump will veto that bill. But, again, this isn't about politics. You don't play roulette with people's lives. You don't play roulette with the state because you hate someone. You have to learn to put your hate aside. You have to learn to put your differences aside and work together when it's right. If Donald Trump vetoes any aid to California, it is on him. It is on him. From this point on, because he is going to be taking office, from this point on, anything that happens is solely on Donald Trump. But I'm going to tell you right now, we're not getting Greenland. We're not going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico, although Chuck Schumer did say the Democrats were on board with that, so you never know. And Canada is not coming the 51st state. Not in my lifetime. And there's no way in hell that Donald Trump is going to use the military as he threatened he would to take Greenland by force, because that is a war he's declaring. Because I guarantee you, should Donald Trump do that, and we don't know if he's serious or not, but who knows with him, but I can guarantee right now that if Donald Trump takes the military and invades Greenland, I can bet you the bottom dollar he will have started World War III, a war he claimed Joe Biden was starting by letting immigrants into this country, which to this day still makes no sense, but I can guarantee you it's that. We know why Donald Trump wants Greenland. Because it's rich in resources, and all he sees is, that's why he keeps saying, drill, baby, drill. And that's why he's angry at Joe Biden for signing a bill that will prevent Donald Trump from drilling oil. On private land, mostly. But that's why Donald Trump wants it. Because it's rich in resources. It's got ore, it's got iron, it's got gold, it's probably got oil there too. That's why he wants Greenland. He's using it's a national security matter to prove his point. But Greenland isn't a security risk at all. When was the last time you heard Greenland in a war with somebody? When was the last time you heard about a terrorist shooting in Greenland? When was the last time you heard about violence or protests in Greenland? Hell, when was the last time you even heard of Greenland if they even had COVID? Greenland is a Dutch colony, and we are very good friends with the Dutch. We are good, strong allies. And in a blink of an eye, Donald Trump could kill that. All because of his narcissistic, egomaniac, fascism, dictatorship wannabe motives. Speaking of motives, you think Don Jr. went to Greenland because he wanted to go on vacation? No. It was time. You think he just picked now to go to Greenland? Of course not. Donald Trump's in this to Greenland to survey the area. In fact, Donald Trump Jr. said he's videoing it to show on his podcast. No. Donald Trump had an ulterior motive. Send his son, take reconnaissance videos and photos, report back to me and tell me what you think about Greenland, and then, and only then, I'll do what I want to do. Donald Trump doesn't do anything unless it benefits him. And whoever voted for him, which is most of the country, you got played. You got conned. Donald Trump lied to you. He said whatever he said because he wanted your vote. And now he sold us out and is going to continue to do so. He already said he can't lower the grocery prices. Surprise, surprise. We all knew he couldn't do that. We all knew that there was no way he was going to do it. But you believed him anyway. So, but no surprise, we all knew he couldn't do that. You know, he, I mean, if you think about it from 4 years ago or 8 years ago, he said Mexico was going to pay for the wall. They didn't, you know. And he has money, so why are taxpayers paying for the wall? Which, by the way, United States already has a wall. It's been there for years and years and years and years and years. There are pictures of that wall. So we do have a wall already. But Donald Trump decided he needs to have a bigger wall because he wants that in his legacy. And by the way, he also tried to steal private land so that he can build a wall on those lands. Land that legally did not belong to him. He actually wanted to kick the people off their properties, destroy the houses, and build their wall. Unfortunately for him, you can't do that. If the land doesn't belong to you, the only way you can use the land is by buying the property. He actually never finished the wall. The wall still remains incomplete and probably will never be finished. So it was a waste of taxpayers' money that could have gone elsewhere. Money that could have been used for more important infrastructure. And Donald Trump could have actually paid for the wall out of his own pocket. I don't know anybody that actually wanted this wall to begin with. But back to California, it's all related. You don't have to write a Truth Social post that says California has no water, FEMA has no money, when it's a lie. How do you know FEMA has no money? How do you know California has no water? FEMA has money. It's in the budget. FEMA will always have money because they always need that for disaster reliefs. There is not one Congress that will ever say we're not funding FEMA. Because God forbid you have a really dangerous thing that happens here at home and FEMA has no money, who are you going to blame? Who's going to take care of it? Are you going to blame Donald Trump? Are you going to blame Congress? Are you going to blame the Democrats? Who would you blame? FEMA will always have money. And by the way, if California, if let's just say on the off chance that what Donald Trump is saying is true. It's not, but let's just say it is true. Okay? Let's just go with that. Okay? At least back up your claim with a source. At least back it up. If they don't have any water, how do you know they don't have water? Who said this? Back it up. Then your argument is valid. Then you could say, okay, if FEMA has no money, prove it. Show facts. How do you know they don't have money? Where'd the money go? Do an investigative thing. Because then people believe it. And I've noticed this. And I've noticed every time I have a conversation with MAGA, with somebody who's MAGA or a supporter, they will not back. They will tell me to prove it. And I will say, you're telling me to prove what I'm saying, but how come you can't prove what you're saying? It goes both ways. And their answer to me is, well, prove that it's true. And I'm like, well, prove that it's not. They tell me, prove that it's not true. And I say, prove that it's not. And when they're using YouTube as their proof, that is not a legitimate source. I can go on YouTube and say, the sky is red. How do you know it's red? Well, because I said it on YouTube. Oh, so if I said it's on YouTube, it must be true. No, posting a source doesn't mean go to YouTube and post me the link and say, there's my proof, there's your proof. No, YouTube is not a news source. Unless it's a legitimate news site, YouTube is not a source. And don't give me places like the Gateway Pundit either, which has already been proven, which has already been debunked as an unproven site. So don't give me things like YouTube, Gateway Pundit, Washington Examiner, or one person actually tried this, Epoch News. Epoch News is a Chinese-owned. It's Chinese-owned media. Why would I believe the Chinese media as proof. So I said, as an argument, I go, well, okay, then if you're going to believe Chinese media, then I'm pretty sure you believe the origins of COVID starting on them too. And they're like, no, what? They're like, no, it was man-made. I'm like, how do you know? It was man-made in a lab. Can you prove it? I don't have to. I'm like, okay, I don't have to believe you either. Everything is a chain reaction. When you start believing the lie, if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes true. Yes, that is true. That doesn't make it true. If you tell a lie long enough, it becomes true. That doesn't make it true. Just because you believe it to be true doesn't make it true. If I say I'm getting married, okay, who's the girl? I'm getting engaged. Who's the girl? How come we never seen her? She's very shy. She doesn't like pictures. Then I don't believe you. I'm like, okay. Then how come it's good for you, but it's not good for me? How come I have to prove what I'm saying, but whatever you're saying, you don't have to prove it? Is it good for me, but not thee? You can't have it both ways. We're either both lying or we're both telling the truth. But it can't be that way. We can't both be lying or we both can't be telling the truth. Somebody is lying and somebody's telling the truth. The question is, who is lying? Who's the liar? And who's telling the truth? If MAGA and their cult leaders and the GOP want to believe what Donald Trump is saying, or what Charlie Kirk is saying, or what Joe Rogan is saying, or what Elon Musk is saying, by all means, you can believe that. I do not have to believe that. I am well read. I am well educated. If I'm going to say something, I'm going to know what the hell I'm talking about, and I'm going to post a source. If you don't want to believe legitimate sites like, say, ABC or the New York Times or Vox Media or Huffington Post or whatever, and you rather believe right-wing papers like Washington Examiner or the Gateway Pundit, or hell, even some podcaster like Charlie Kirk, by all means. This is America. You can believe whoever you want. But when you start believing a lie, that's a dangerous lie, and people are dying, then you are no better than him, Donald Trump. Because if you're believing it, without any proof whatsoever, without any sources whatsoever, and I call you out, and I prove you all wrong, and you say, no, I don't believe this site is woke, or it's anti, or it's Democratic only, and they're biased because they hate Trump. That's your issue. You've been brainwashed. I posted a source, just like you asked me to prove it. I proved it. You don't like because it's NBC News, or because it's or it's a national paper, and you don't like it because it's not for your narrative. Then don't ask me to prove it, because I'm going to prove it with my sources, my reliable sources, my respectable resources. If you don't like it, that's not my problem. I did exactly what you asked me to do. I proved my source. I proved that I proved you're wrong. I proved that what he said was a lie. I can't help it if you don't believe it. I just want to say in closing that Donald Trump is a danger to America. He's a danger to the world. He is lying. California is in desperate. Los Angeles is in desperate need right now. We need to be here for them. I have friends there. I have family there, as I'm sure everybody watching this video does. I wish them well. I hope they're safe. I hope they're doing okay. And there's a GoFundMe to help them. I have given money to help them, or I will. I suggest you do the same. But to listen to Donald Trump or MTG or Elon about what's going on in California is disgusting, idiotic, and dangerous. And anybody that thinks, and anybody that believes it, well then, may God have mercy on your soul.